I will take you through some new guidance that's now on the Foundation's website, which you can find out at foundations.uk.com, which is a guide around the CDM regulations, which we've talked a little bit about earlier today. And just as background, a lot of technical officers in the audience, the construction design and management regulations are basically set out how construction work should be designed and managed in a safe way. But previously, most of the guidance that you can find is based on large construction sites and how it would apply within a kind of building site, basically. So we've worked with some health and safety experts to look at how CDM would apply, how you would apply those regulations to a typical home adaptation process, such as a level access shower or a ramp. And I suppose kind of first of all to say that it applies to all construction work, from fitting a grab rail to building a skyscraper or building a bridge. But the difference is that the level of documentation required is proportionate to the complexity of the work. And a project starts from the initial design. So as soon as you kind of start to think about how things would be fitted or designed within a project, that's when the CDM regulations start. So, and kind of different elements of it could be linked together. So if you're looking at a bathroom adaptation and a stair lift as a single project, then you need to think about how the two are coordinated. So if you put the stair lift in first, can you get the old bath out? Can you get the stuff up to the bathroom to fit it safely? And vice versa. So kind of it's taking a kind of a preventative approach in terms of risks and health and safety, both in terms of constructing the project and thinking about kind of the ongoing maintenance and use of a scheme. Some key definitions, and again, this is all set out in the new guide on the website, so you're very welcome to go and have a look at this afterwards. The client is the person or organisation who seeks the services of others to do construction work. There is a definition of a domestic client, who is basically somebody who owns their own home, who arranges construction work in their home. But in terms of DFGs and adaptations, if there's an agency service, if you're providing an agency service that does the arranging, then you are the client. The person who lives there isn't the client, because you're doing the arranging of the work. Even if the contractual relationship is between the person who lives there and the contractor, you're doing the arranging as the agent, so you take on the client responsibilities. The designer is somebody who prepares or modifies a design, and you have to think about designing out the risks, both in terms of construction and in terms of ongoing use, as is reasonably practicable, documenting what you do in a proportionate way. And I think kind of thing for OTs specifically is that identifying a need, e.g. that somebody needs a stair lift, isn't design. But if you're selecting a particular type or manufacturer and where it would be positioned, then you are doing an element of design, and you would need to think about the health and safety and risks associated with that, and to document those proportionately. Another element of CDM regs is that you provide pre-construction information, and the client should provide that. So if you're an agency service, you're a client, you should provide pre-construction information. And as part of the details and the guidance on the website, we've included a template that you could use, which is kind of proportionate to kind of a shower or a stair lift, or those kind of scale of adaptations, where you can provide that information and document it in an appropriate way. The construction phase plan is the next bit of the project. So this is prepared by the contractor, and it basically details the health and safety arrangements for while the works are in place, including things like welfare facilities. So both for the residents in terms of what happens to the toilet if you're adapting a bathroom, and also things like welfare facilities. So where does the contractor have his lunch, for example? And then finally, the kind of final bit of the documentation is a health and safety file. So for a typical DFG project, this is, I suppose, kind of a pack of information to pass on to the homeowner or resident at the end of the project, including as-built drawings, things like electrical certificates, building reg certificates, and any manufacturer's instructions. And preferably that would be a hard copy in an indexed folder. So something you may pass on to your contractor to provide. That's a quick overview of what's in the new guidance on the website. There's also e-training on CDM regulations that's linked to this guidance that again, you can take up. And we do also have available, if you want, if your team, the company that we worked with to develop this guidance, can also do an in-house training course for you that goes into a lot more detail on how this all applies. As well as CDM, we've got new asbestos guidance. So rather than doing a presentation this time, what I thought I would show you is the page on the website and just kind of show you how it works. So any pages where we've got a little printer icon, you can print off the page as a document. So if you want to print it off as a PDF or have it printed out, that kind of collates it as a nice nice document for you. So we have contents over on the left-hand side here. If you click on any of these, it takes you to the appropriate point on the page. There's an overview of what asbestos is, and a little bit of the history of it. And then we've got details of the main legislation, which is the Control of Asbestos Regulations from 2012. And it gives you a little overview of the particular regulations, which is 4, 5, 6, and 10 that you particularly need to be aware of, on the duty to manage, identification of presence of asbestos, and the assessment of work which exposes employees to asbestos, and then details on information, instruction, and training, which is particularly key, because the requirement is that asbestos awareness training should be given to those workers in the refurbishment, maintenance, and allied trades where it is foreseeable that any asbestos containing materials may become exposed during their work. And this includes architects, building surveyors, and other such professionals, such as adaptation surveyors. It's got some details here of what the asbestos awareness training should cover. But basically, the recommendation is that any HOA or local authority staff who supervise or influence building work are required to have asbestos awareness training on a yearly basis. If you're then actually working with asbestos as part of your day-to-day work, so it's probably kind of more for contractors, then that there's more detailed training that you should have. But for any technical officers, it is essential that you have annual asbestos awareness training. And what we've done to try and make that as easy as possible, we've sourced some IOSH approved asbestos awareness training that's now available via our website. It costs, I think, a very reasonable £20, and you can kind of come back to it again every year then after that and kind of refresh yourselves. But what we've tried to do is kind of find a kind of really nice bit of training that ticks all the boxes in terms of asbestos awareness. It's relatively short to complete, but make sure that you're aware of everything you need to be aware of to comply with those regulations.